Hello out there in cyber world. It's been a little while since I talked to you with our podcast show called Raves and Occasional Rants. Sorry I had to take a few months off because I got a new hip and had another injury doing something fun but stupid. And I'm finally back functioning almost at 100%. And also, too, I was gone for a couple of months. We were shooting a trailer for a new movie called The Dental Expendables in Europe for a couple of weeks. And the reason for the gray, whatever this is, okay, is we're shooting the next movie, the full next movie in Japan here in about 3 weeks called The Ceramic Sensei, The Last Karate Kid, which I will be previewing next year in Chicago. Recently, I've been getting a lot of questions, so let's call this an AMA, I guess, Ask Me Anything. And I see this all over the internet. This is one of the biggest questions. I mean, how do we actually bond zirconia, or are we bonding zirconia? So I think I'll deal with a couple of questions because there's been a lot of confusion about this. These so-called all-in-one cements like Panavia SA, where we don't do anything, maybe, we sandblast the zirconia still. We don't use a separate MDP primer because the MDP primer is in the cement. And same thing, the MDP primer bonds to the tooth. Do we use a separate adhesive or not to the cement? And how does that compare with the multi-step technique where you apply a primer? Now, everything that I tell you, some of you may know, you may not know, I've owned 2 Instron machines in my life. My Instron's in the other room. So I test everything that I talk about and as close to clinical conditions as possible with thermocycling and or humidity and things like that. So the simple answer to the question is the multi-step technique where you add a separate primer, low viscosity MDP primer, and a cement as effective bond strength as the all-in-one type materials? And the answer is clearly no. We get less than, let's just round to half the bond strength, roughly around 8 to 10 megapascal to sandblasted zirconia with the so-called all-in-one cement, specifically Panavia SA. That's still okay bond strength, but it's not like we get with an etched porcelain, or if we go through all of the steps to treat zirconia that we could possibly to bring up the bond strength. So if you have good retention on a crown, normal retention and resistance form, long walls, you don't really need that much increased retention, that will be fine to use, in my opinion. Now, for non-retentive preps, we're doing more and more non-retentive preps like veneers, onlays, things like that. Clearly, I do not believe that that is adequate bond strength. And I have the opportunity to poll a lot of people as I move around and lecture. I do 30, 40, 50 lectures a year with anywhere from small to large audiences. And I always ask them, are they having any issues with etched ceramics like glass ceramic, like Emax, something like that? And virtually no one will ever answer yes to that question, meaning that they have virtually 100% success with a bond over time anyway. See you soon.